And welcome back, everybody. Waffle board breaks. How we doing tonight? 34 boxes on the table and shelves. 2 boxes tonight. We hit double box on Wednesday or Thursday, actually, when we broke it. But so there's no double boxes as of right now. So that gets us down to 34. The odds increased are better for today's eBay spots. Of course, 2 boxes went away on Wednesday/Thursday. Of course, this is the last double box for 2 weeks since I'll be away. I'll be in the House of Mouse as of this time next week. We are doing a Tuesday and Thursday Facebook claims this week, so to get us down to 30 boxes when I get back on the 5th of July. The 5th of July, Sunday, eBay double box. They will start obviously next Tuesday to get ended on Sunday the 5th, and we'll do the double box there. So we'll be at 30 boxes by then. Obviously, we have Tuesday and Thursday this week. If Tuesday takes a little while to fill, of course, we can break it on Wednesday. Same with Thursday. If it takes a little while to fill, we can always break that on Friday. But I would like to hopefully get them filled the night of. I would like to break them the night of. Of course, this week is the draft week. Draft starts Friday night, first round. Saturday, I think it's 2 and 3, I believe, and then I think 4 through 6. I think the NHL draft is 6 right now, so that takes place on the Saturday or Sunday. I know it's a full draft weekend. Obviously, I'm usually more involved in the draft, but since I'll be away this week, I haven't been able to keep up to date with a lot of the details. And the hammers are dropping fast. We had a huge deal today. Huge deal today. Obviously, the smaller deal was when Florida acquired a late first round pick earlier today for Sam Muskevich, and then they turned around and they dealt 2 first rounders this year, first rounder next year, and at least a second rounder the year before. 4 Fozzie Bear, Brady Kachuk, now playing with his brother mouthpiece in Florida. Florida Panthers hoping that they shake off the injury bug that they kept them out of the playoffs this year, and they hopefully come back strong. Obviously, they were 2-time defending Stanley Cup champions, and obviously they didn't even make the playoffs this year. They had injuries up and down the lineup. Hopefully, they can get back from that. They still got to figure out what they're doing in goal because they have a 30-year-old, 2-time Vezina Trophy winning, 2-time Stanley Cup winning goalie that stated he wants 6 years at 6 or 7 million. That's not going to happen. There's no way that they can do that. Even on their, I think they might have some cap room left, but that's not going to happen. They're not signing Bobrovsky for that kind of money to have him play into his mid 40s in Florida. But like I said, he's not finished yet. Obviously, he's going to get a job somewhere. I'm not sure if Toronto, I doubt Toronto, but Edmonton might want to bite at the Bobrovsky magic. We'll see if he can get back into form. Obviously, last year he was affected a lot by the injuries and the damage on that Florida team. They weren't quite as tightened up as they had been, obviously, in their cup runs, which obviously affects everything in front of your goalie. He's going to look as bad or as good as you play in front of him. And Bobrovsky does have 2 Vezinas with the Jackets, and now he's won 2 cups with the Panthers. So I don't think he's quite finished. I know that the drop off is pretty precipitous for goalies in general. We've seen it happen in the past but they don't quite go from Vezina potential to maybe out of the league. But I mean, that's 38 years old. I mean, he may not have the miles on him as some goalies, but he has played a lot. I mean, so he's if it happens fast. But hopefully he's ready to roll for next year. I don't think he can play. I don't think he's a 60 game a year goalie, but hopefully if they get 45, 50 out of it, if they compare him with somebody, competent as a backup. Obviously, they have Spencer Knight, who is supposed to be the heir apparent, and things fell by the wayside with him, and now he's, obviously he was dealt to Chicago after having some personal issues, and which he's hopefully taken care of, because hopefully Chicago needs him to be their goalie going forward. Unless they might adjust on the fly at some point in time too. But he was in Florida to be the heir apparent, and Bob basically, once Spencer faltered a little bit, Bob stepped up and proved that he's still cup caliber goalie. He's pretty much etched his name in the future Hall of Fame ranks with 2 Vezinas in Columbus and 2 cups in Florida. And there's no doubt in my mind that he'll get in the Hall. I know a lot of goalies that we have now or recent, it's been a little barren. Obviously, they've gone back to, Tom Barrasso got in recently, so they're still, picking and choosing goalies from the 80s and 90s for Hall of Fame induction. So there's not tons recently that qualify for that, but there's a couple. Like you said, there's discussions every year, about whether Osgood should get in. Obviously, he's not in. I don't think Cujo's in yet, so he's another one that they talk about. These goalies back in the 80s, 90s piled up tons of wins, played lots of games, and they're not quite, they still have Osgood's, and obviously, Osgood won cups in Detroit, but he's not quite, the Hall of Fame pedigree compared to some of the other goalies. But obviously he was a winner. You say the team won, but Osgood had to have some big saves. Even when he was the backup there, they split time in Detroit. But like I said, I think Vernon got in the Hall of Fame race. I know Barrasso just did. So they're kind of reassessing that era's goalies about who's Hall of Fame worthy. Of course, we have some goalies in the Eastern Conference. I guess Carey Price is one that's they're he's one of the best goalies in Canadians history, but obviously he didn't win cups, but he did win a Hart. So he did win a Hart. That matters. But John Sebastian Guerre won a Hart, so it's not like that's not like the deciding factor for goalies getting into the Hall. Jaguar won the Hall. He won I don't know if he won the Conn Smythe. He definitely won a cup with Anaheim, and he did win a Hart Trophy, I believe, with Anaheim. So, like I said, that's not the deciding factor. It's tougher with goalies. Obviously, team play matters a lot. There's not many goalies in the last 15 years. Obviously, some of the legends. The Henrik Lundqvist. Those goalies are locks for the Hall of Fame. But then you got guys like Turco. You figure, where these guys are going to be, the absolute great goalies, but are they Hall of Fame caliber goalies? I love Ryan Miller, another one, one of the greatest American goalies. It's tougher with the goalies, whether or not they're able to get the votes. When we played in an era when Patrick Waugh, Martin Brodeur, and Dominic Hasek were 3 of the best goalies to ever strap them. It's tough to say that you deserve Hall recognition when you played kind of in their shadows. But you're not gonna, you can't slight the goalies that played in that era as not being Hall of Fame caliber. They may not have the hardware. They're not going to have the Vezinas. They're not going to have the Conn Smythes. They're not going to have, there's so few other trophies for goalies to be measured against. It's more or less, you eyeball their body of work, and if you tuned in to watch goalies play, not everybody's a huge goalie fan, so it's tougher. Like I said, when the votes come in for the goalies, that's always been the position that's been tougher to decide whether or not a player is Hall worthy. There's a long stretch where goalies weren't getting in. Obviously, obviously you knew Patrick was getting in. You knew Martin was getting in. You knew Hasek was getting in. But it's tough. Like, where do you put the other guys? Like I said, there's goalies that I watched that, like I said, one of my all-time favorite goalies was Mika Kiprusoff, and he had some dominant years when he was a starter, but he was not the starter for a while in San Jose, and he got dealt, and he became the starter in Calgary, and that he went to the finals. Obviously, he lost in Game 7 to Tampa's first Cup win, and he had some unbelievable goaltending years. But playing out there in Calgary, you don't have as many eyeballs on you. He had one of the greatest goaltending seasons in modern era, but he's not going to be a Hall of Famer. His career wasn't long enough. He doesn't have the hardware because, of course, he has the Vezina, and he had, one or two absolutely amazing years with Calgary, but he's not able to get in the Hall. It's tough. Like I said, some of the goalies I love to play. I love to watch play. Like I said, the Ryan Millers, the Marty Turcos, the Cujos, Osgood. I enjoyed seeing all those guys play, and none of them are quite Hall of Fame. Depends on what you measure the Hall of Fame. Like if you measure them against, Wabruder and Hasek, no, they're not Hall of Famers. But if you measure them against each other, you see a couple kind of rise. Obviously, to the top. Henrik Lundqvist to me, he's a lock. He's a surefire Hall of Famer. He's in, I believe. And then, Luongo's another one. You put the length of career, as well as the accolades. And, they were the players that you couldn't take your eye off when they were in net because, they're going to make a big save to save your game, or, they make big saves, breakaways, killing penalties. So it's tough. Like I said, it's, obviously the Hall of Fame votes are always going to be subjective. We've seen recently they've kind of had to assess because some of our great players haven't retired in recently, so there's been obviously they want to get people into the Hall, but they've gotten more career players have gotten in. Guys like I love Dave Andreychuk. But there was never a point in his career that I thought Dave Andreychuk was must-see TV. Like he's a guy that did it in bulk, and then of course at the end of his career, he capped it off, finally winning the cup with Tampa Bay. And obviously, I think he's the NHL all-time leader in power play goals. But when you play as many seasons as you do, you're going to pile up some numbers, and it's just tough. Like it's tough when you look at the full body of work. His numbers say Hall of Fame, but when he played, he was always a great player. But was he Hall of Fame player? I got tough time saying that. Depending who you're comparing him against. Obviously, there's players that when you look at pure numbers, you have to consider them for the Hall of Fame, and then you have players where the numbers maybe not as important because they just didn't have the accomplishments. With the hardware or whether the playoffs, obviously playoff success matters. It shouldn't be the deciding factor, but clearly it should go into the voting. If you had a player that stepped up his game in the playoffs instead of just disappearing, that should affect you. But we'll see. We have players that should be retiring soon, coming up for it. Jonathan Toews is definitely a lock for the Hall of Fame. He was never a numbers monster, but longtime captain with the Hawks, multiple cup wins, obviously one of the best all around face-offs and, defensively as well. He's a great player. Of course, he's going to get in. Worry about whether or not guys like John Tavares are going to get in. John Tavares put up huge numbers with the Isle. Obviously no cups there. He's put up pretty good numbers, even as he's, kind of moved into a secondary role, even though he's one of the main power play contributors with Toronto, but they can't get out of the second round. That's the furthest they've gotten. Will that affect him when it comes time to looking at his numbers when he retires? We'll see. There's not going to be a lot of players in the recent era that have much better numbers than Tavares. Obviously he's got, fan bases have soured on him in New York, and now parts of Toronto fan bases soured on him. But like I said, we'll see what happens with a player like Marner, obviously, and Eichel. Those guys have moved on from their original, draft locations and had some success elsewhere. We'll see if that affects them down the road. But, it's always interesting to see. But like I said, it's fun seeing the trades. Obviously, we're now less than a week away from the draft being concluded, and the shoes are starting to drop. Huge deal with Brady Tkachuk going to Florida. I'm not sure if that's exactly what the missing pieces were for Florida, but of course, getting Brady and Matthew together in Florida, only 1 year removed from winning the cup. it was pretty much it was written on the wall in Ottawa. He wouldn't sign. I think he's not due for an extension until the end of next season. So he was 2 years away from that, and I think they pretty much had shut down talks, and he had a list of teams he was willing to go to. He had a full no trade clause. I think there's 4 teams that he was he would consider a trade. And Florida, of course, is on there. Obviously, no stadium income tax in Florida, playing with your brother. Their cup window hasn't quite closed, especially if they can figure out what they're doing in net. So we'll see. Like I said, Florida should be back strong next year. I mean, I'm not sure if like a team like the Rangers should have that kind of resurgence back to the playoffs or not. They're still trying to figure out what they're doing in New York. Obviously, they signed their backup goalie. Quick will be gone. But I'm not sure if they have to make some other moves before the Rangers could say that they're ready to do the same kind of, coming back to the playoff team as the Panthers are doing. So we'll see. Like I said, this is an important part of the year for your general managers. This is when you got to make the shrewd moves. You got to figure out, obviously, chemistry and dollars and cents, and figure out how your team make your team, a cup contender for next year. But as we saw in the Eastern Conference, I knew Carolina was far and away the best team all year long. Buffalo took the next steps, and they were right there. Montreal took big steps with that young team, and they were right there. And Tampa, hopefully, they can keep most of their core together. Already lost Radish to Toronto. That was a huge loss, but I mean, he had one great year with Tampa, and we'll see if they can replace his production. But see if Toronto hopes he works out as the power play guy up there. So big money being doled out. Radish was a huge free agent signing. I think he's one of the top, either the number one or the top 2 or 3 available players on the free agent market. And he's now gone. So we'll see if dominoes start falling there. And of course, Brady Tkachuk, obviously he was 2 years away from free agency, but that's an absolute monster trade. Obviously, Ottawa's collecting draft picks. I'm not sure if they're going to use them all, if they're going to trade for something else. But I'm not sure what their plan is. But obviously, Ottawa's now in play with it looks like I think they'll have 3 first-rounders as of right now. I don't know if they have others or not, though. I have to look at what they're doing. But the top of the order is pretty much – it's not locked in yet, but it seems sensible that the Maple Leafs and obviously take McKenna. It makes sense for the Sharks to take Chase Reed, who seems to be the clear defensive prospect in the draft, and that's kind of what they need. Then we have Vancouver and obviously the Rangers, and Vancouver and the Hawks and the Rangers, and we'll see if they make the moves. Obviously, Ivar Stenberg seems to be a difference-making wing on the draft. We'll see if he goes ahead of Malhotra, who's obviously seems to be the highest-rated center right now in the draft, and then of course you have the other defensemen, the Carrolls and the Keaton. We'll see what they do. So it's going to be fun. You'll see if any moves happen before then. But like I said, we have the last double box for 2 weeks. We'll be back here to do a double box on July 5th. So that will go live, not this Tuesday, the following Tuesday. Those spots will go live to get bid on. But the last 2 boxes before then will be this Tuesday and Thursday. So if you guys are in on Facebook claims, we are doing Tuesday night and Thursday night. I will post. So that's clearly stated. Of course, the spot price preview will go up tonight before I go to bed. So you guys will see that. You'll know exactly what your spots are going to cost on Tuesday and Thursday. Same spot prices, both boxes. There's not going to be any change no matter what comes out tonight. Well, obviously tonight will affect the spot prices when I post them, but whatever comes out Tuesday will not affect the spot prices for Thursday. So don't have to worry about ending them on eBay because nothing's going live on Tuesday. So it'll be easy with that. Everything has been mailed before that's been hit before today. So if you hit anything in the last 2 weeks, they were dropped off at the post office yesterday. So they're on the way to you. I also dropped off just coincidentally a big box, 9 jerseys going out to JSA. It's a huge shipment. Hopefully their turnaround is pretty quick. Obviously, we're looking like 3 weeks before we have to do the reload. We're going to do, after we get back, we'll be doing the double box on the 5th, and then probably a box that Wednesday, and then a double box the following Sunday, and a box that Wednesday. So that'll get us down, I think, 24 before the new reload goes in. I think I'll have, as of right now, 9, so I'll probably pick up some more in the next couple of weeks. So that'll get me ready for at least a dozen or so for that reload. But until then, like I said, you guys have a little break from me after Thursday. Enjoy that little time off. Get yourself ready to come back strong on the double box 2 weeks from now. So, but we have some good stuff to hit before then. We have, of course, we have 12 of the 13 from the last reload, and we have 10 of the 13 from the reload before that. So we're talking like the the May and June reloads. We've only hit 4 boxes from those 26, which is pretty crazy. So I mean, other than that, like I said, we cleared out the second most or second oldest run. We have 1 single box left from the oldest reload. Then we have a 2 and then 3 box reloads, and then the 10 to 12. So we'll see what comes out tonight. I'm excited for you guys. I won't begrudge anybody for hitting anything. It's good to hit some stuff. You guys have been chasing some stuff. You guys are loyal. Thank you for the eBay bids, and thank you for grabbing all the unsolds. Ash D closed us out, grabbing the last 3 that I posted up there for a nice cheap price spot of $12 total for 3 spots. So can't beat that. You're talking $4 a spot for 3 spots. So $12 total for a double box break. I mean, you can't beat that. $4 for any spot. 1 in 30 or 1 in 34 box odds. You're not going to find much better box odds no matter where you go. You guys know the drill. And thank you. In the meantime, continue supporting Big Al's stuff Monday and Thursday, East Coast boxes. Continue supporting Daryl. I'm not sure. I have to see what his schedule is. I think he's doing. Is he not listing? He's obviously opened a couple boxes tomorrow. I'm not sure when his stuff is going live to list again for the next stuff. He's in the high 40s right now, and he'll get down to 46, I think, or so after a couple boxes come out, or 47 maybe. Not sure. I have to check out the Facebook page. Of course, get over to Nick F if you do whatnot. Like I said, I haven't had a chance to grab that. That's Tuesday and Thursday, but I know he does stuff, still doing live streams over there. He gets up to 3 boxes per night. So he's been doing pretty good selling out the spots on whatnot. So if you're a whatnot veteran, stop by Nick F's stuff there. What's he doing? Tuesday 49 and 50 are posted. Oh, that's right. Forgot about the freebie. So if you've been breaking with Daryl, he's doing a 100% free spot for anybody that's breaking over that room. Obviously, the rest of the spots will be sold, I'm assuming. But so actually doing that. But that's gonna be fun. Like I said, he's been filling up his boxes pretty fast. His breaks pretty fast. So he did pretty good with the box wood, the break 49 filled up pretty quickly. So he was able to add a break 50, which is the 100% free one, which is pretty good. So that's coming up. So the 49 is the new one to post, and then 50 is the free one. So get over there if you have time. Check out the Facebook page. Daryl's been doing some good stuff. He does other stuff other than just hockey stuff. He's been doing. He does movie stuff. He's done wrestling stuff, comic stuff, a little bit of everything. So he's pretty varied. I know most of you guys do Big Al stuff, where he does lots of football stuff, lots of full sizes. He's been doing a couple other things like the signed hockey portraits, which I believe is from Fanatics as well. So check that out. I've seen some pretty nice names have come out of that product as well. So, but like I said, other than that, let's get ready to take a break. Where we got? Oh yeah, throw your room up there, Daryl, for your claims. So you can check that out. So I don't mind. I don't have it on hand. Obviously, I'm upstairs. I'm downstairs. I don't have the Daryl's. He was a Blockbuster breaks something. Blockbuster. I don't want to get it wrong. I don't want to throw anybody off. But where is Cinnamon? There we go. He should be Ash posted on that, so you'll see it in the thread. I'm not going to delete the claim thread, so it's on there. If you believe it's on, maybe not. I may have taken it down. I might have taken down the free, just trying to clean up the threads on the room. So, but I'll flip you if you need it. So, but yeah, it's a Blockbuster breaks and something rather. Where's the thing? Let me look at Blockbuster Breakers. That's what it is. Cards and mem. Blockbuster Breakers, cards and mem. I can even flip you the link at some point in time. So, but definitely support, our friends and family here. Got to keep going strong. Hockey is never dead. Obviously, this is the draft week. After this, of course, it might calm down a little bit, but it's already fast and furious with Brady Kachuk being dealt. It's rare you see a player of that caliber get moved, especially with 2 years out from his free agency. Obviously, there's still some big needs to be talked about. McDavid, there's always talk about whether he wants out of Edmonton. Austin Matthews, there's always talk about if they're going to move him. Toronto's bringing in, obviously, big names like Radish, so they got to figure out what they're doing with their team. There's always pressure in Toronto to make a cup run, and it's been quite some time since it's happened. But there's other players out there. Like I said, I'm even a little worried. Obviously, I want to see what they do with Cooch. He's a year out from free agency. I'm not sure if he would take a discount if he wants to make some max money now. But obviously, it hurts your team when you take the max monies, but at the same time, the players earned it for their times of service, so you can't begrudge them for cashing in when they can. But obviously, it helps you, to keep your team, so you're able to spend money to fill holes where needed. But you got to do what you got to do. You play to make the money, and I want to see if they're willing to keep him. I knew it was a good decision to let Stammer go because he had a great year this year. I mean, Stamkos had a fantastic year with this Nashville, but as a long-term deal, I mean, the money was better spent on Jake Gensel, who will be in Tampa for quite some time. Hopefully his numbers will be, solid pretty much going forward. He's a great player at both ends of the ice, and he works well with the talented players with Tampa. And that was the kind of money. That's where you got to spend the money. I mean, you got to look at the ages. It's not easy anymore to let go of lifetime, your top draft picks. But I mean, you got to do it. That's how you got to do it. So, but we'll see. Like I said, players change teams quite often, and especially big name players. And it's more than just trading cards. I mean, these guys are thinking about chemistry, thinking about the contracts, thinking about the impact with their teams, and it's a fun week. I have a draft week. You see lots of stuff change hands. It's going to be fun. So I'll be keeping an eye on the ticker and seeing late trades come in, obviously picks and stuff, and it's a fun week if you're into that kind of minutia of the hockey season. But other than that, like I said, let's get going. 2 boxes tonight, 1 in 34, 1 in 33 box odds. I'm a math guy, so I mean I always think box odds. So 1 in 34, 1 in 33, pretty much the best you're going to find, especially for fully licensed, complete stated names. So there you go. Yeah, definitely connect. You guys can match up. So let's get going to that. Boxes are here. Let me see. We got a pretty good crowd. Obviously, Sunday. We're missing some of our heavies. We have no Ron, but we do have, and no Shirley McKay. But we do got Ryan S. back in tonight. Welcome back, Steve S., my Islanders fan. Grab the Pulak. Good luck to you. Trying to see if anybody else. Obviously, Ash D is in. Greg K is back in again tonight. We got Big Al. We got Nick F. We got Mike H. James M. Daryl L. Jake G. No Brett G, right? Just Jake is in tonight. Just the son. Dan B. has hit. He hit the other night. He's back. He hit Derek Steppen, so that's on the way to him. He's in tonight with a spot. Brian S. I said. CK. Thomas M. Hope you're feeling a little bit better. Obviously, I saw you grabbed. Did you grab 1 or 2? Just 1 spot in tonight. You've hit recently too, so it's looking to see if you can keep your semi heater going. DLC grabbed a bunch of unsold as well. So good crowd. Thank you much everybody for being involved. Whether you're watching live or you're going to tune in on the delay, I'll post the video after we're done, and then I'll post a spot price preview for this week. And then we'll get going. Like I said, we have a couple of days ago. We're going to have it done Tuesday in a while. It'll be the first Tuesday we've done almost in a month. But back to Tuesday and Thursday this week before I go away. And then, of course, we'll be back here on Sunday, July 5th. So we'll get 2 of them this week just to get that hockey mojo going leading up to the draft. And then we'll take a break until July 5th. So good luck, everybody, tonight. Congratulations, whoever it hits. Let's do it. Okay. Where's my dice roller? Okay. And where's my list? There we go. Okay. Very good. Okay, as always, of course, we do 5 or more on our die roll for our first box. We'll back that box number out. We'll do 5 or more on the list of boxes again. So that way we might have a different number of rolls. Boxes, of course, in order. There we go. Of course, we skipped 43. It's the only box. There's 43 there. Of course, 17 was skipped a while back. 43 is the only recent box that's been skipped. We've only hit 1 of this last reload. Like I said, we hit 3 of the reload before. So that is actually, that is 22 of our 34 boxes are just from our last 2 reloads. And then if you look at the last 5 reloads, that is 31 of the 34 boxes. So that's pretty crazy. We've been burning through them pretty good, taking out some of the older stuff. You guys have been doing, you guys have been rewarded for grabbing some of the older stuff. But let's see. I don't mind new stuff coming out. I'm looking forward to seeing whatever we hit. So 5 or more on a dice roll. Let's do it. Is the 10 times. We did 10 times last time as well. 10 times on the dice roll. Good luck, everybody. Let's see what we got. First box. 10 times. 34 items. There it is. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And the first box we're going to open tonight is going to be box number 13. 13. Where's 13? 13. There it is. 10 times. Box 13. 10 times. Box 13. Let me make a circle there. Let me see. Box 13. Okay, very good. 13. Okay, let's back that out. Box 13. Where are you? There we go. 13 is going away. Okay, here we go. 5 or more on our dice roll for our second box. We got 8 times. So we did 10 and now 8. So good luck, everybody. Doing 8 times the list. 1, 33 boxes. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And the second box tonight is going to be box number 3. Box number 3. There it is. 8 times box 3. 8 times box 3. Let me back that out so we're ready for Tuesday. There we go. Box 3. There's box 3. Oh, obviously that was the one that was skipped. There we go. Okay. Box 3. And box 13. Okay, very good. Okay, box 13 on the bottom. Box 3 here. Box 13 on the bottom. There we go. Get this back up top. There we go. Box 13, box 3. You want a knife? Good luck, everybody. Let's see what we got. Oh, nice ones in here. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. No matter what, I'm looking forward to seeing these jerseys. Box 13. It's a banged up one. It's when it came from the company I get it from. Here we go. Here we go. Box 13. Let's see what we got. Box 13 is, whoo, big time. The big time. There it is. Jerome Iginla. Calgary Flames. Jerome Iginla. Gorgeous silver ink. AJ Sport. Jerome Iginla. Very, very nice. One of our beauts. Obviously, Tiz, his son, is getting ready to play some big minutes with the Utah Mammoth. AJ Sports COA on the Jerome Aginla. There we go. Lovely, lovely. Very nice. Calgary Flames Fanatics. The flag on the sleeve. The Alberta coat of arms for the Alberta province. There it is, Calgary. There's the C and the C, the Flaming C and the Captain C on the beautiful red Fanatics Jerome Aginla. It's absolutely gorgeous jersey. Finally comes out to play. I think Thomas was chasing that for a long time, but I don't think he had him today, so I think I checked the list. I got to check the list. He only had one spot. I don't think he had Jerome today. There we go. Jerome Aginla from box 13. And we got box number 3. Let's see what we got in box number 3. Yeah, very, very nice. Okay, what do we got in here? We got box number 3. Oh, gorgeous, gorgeous white Reebok Colorado Avalanche Matty Duchesne. Gorgeous white. Oh, there it is. JSA COA is what I submitted myself. JSA COA. You don't see tons of the white, especially this era. JSA COA. There we go. Whites, Reebok, Matty Duchesne. There we go. Current star for the Dallas Stars, Matt Duchesne. Gorgeous ink on that. Matt Duchesne. Silver pen, obviously, on the black number with the Bigfoot footprints on both sides. There it is. On the Reeboks. I love the Reeboks. Very, very nice, of course, with the special numerals they used back then for the Colorado Avalanche. There's a gorgeous front on the white jersey. Reebok, Matt Duchesne. Very, very nice. Congratulations. Who now? I don't know, even no idea who hit Matt. Let me see what we got on both of these. Gorgeous jerseys. Matt Duchesne, white Reebok abs, and the Jerome Aginla. Funny, they got Dallas Stars kind of connections, obviously, with the trades. Very, very nice. Matt Duchesne on the abs. Jerome Aginla on the Flames. We have Jerome Aginla going to Big Al. Congratulations, Big Al. There it is. Oh, is that what it was? He sniped there. You got to watch out. Big Al is a master of the snipe. Congratulations, Big Al, on the Jerome Aginla. Matt Duchesne going to Nick F. Congratulations, Nick F. on the Matty Duchesne. Very, very nice. Like I said, I loved him as an Av. Obviously, followed his career with the Preds, and now he's the Stars. Matt Duchesne still playing. He had a fantastic year this year. Actually, if you think about it, he was an absolute monster for them this year. So congratulations, Matt Duchesne, still playing good hockey. Hall of Famer Jerome Aginla's son, soon to star with the Utah Mammoth. So there we go. 2 absolute beauts coming out tonight. Jerome Aginla going to Big Al. And, of course, Matt Duchesne going to Nick F. Congratulations, Nick F. Both of you guys. I don't think Big Al and Nick, I'm not sure if they've hit recently, but it's always good to get back into the win column. Sorry, of course, for everybody that did not hit. Your odds are now 1-32 on Tuesday, 1-31 on Thursday. Not going to find much better odds no matter where you go. Like I said, I'm willing to do what I can to get all the spots filled because I want these jerseys to get to somebody's hands. So I do what I can for you guys. The randomizer does the rest. Congratulations to Big Al and Nick. 2 real nice hits tonight. I'm not sure if Nick's keeping that for his PC or if it's going to end up in his boxes. Big Al, I'm sure, is keeping his Jerome, or maybe he'll end up in one of his boxes as well. But very, very nice hits, both those guys. Congratulations. I'll get ready to pack them up. No Duchesne. No Duchesne. So I realized that was Nick that sniped you on the Duchesne. I know Big Al, usually there's a fight for for the Iggy, and it was a decent battle tonight. Evidently, I didn't see all who had the bids in, but Iggy was a pretty good fight tonight. Matt Duchene usually so I guess he stepped up and sniped you on that. Nick did that late. Where's I didn't see the spots either. But there's the Matt Duchene. Yeah, he must have got you late. You had the early bid in, and he got you. So congratulations, Nick. Congratulations, Big Al. 2 hard-fought jerseys. Both you guys, I'll box them up, ready to ship them hopefully this weekend. Like I said, I'll be leaving Saturday, so I'll probably have to get into the mail at some point in time before that. But if we do break on Thursday, I'm sure I get everything into the mail on Friday at some point in time. So I will get the stuff ready. I will get the spot price preview ready for tonight, for Tuesday. And hopefully I see most of you guys back here tonight. I know some people, Facebook people or eBay people don't do Facebook, but hopefully I see the rest of you guys back here on Tuesday. We'll get ready. Hopefully we can fill it. And if not, we can always try to fill it by Wednesday so we get our break in. So thank you much. Let's get ready for lots of draft rumors. Brady Kachuk deal is done and done. The fallout of that will continue. We'll see if it trickles over to other deals being initiated. But that's a big one in the books in draft week. Of course, the Radish signing was huge too, so that should lead to some other big name free agents coming off the list as well. But until then, like I said, thank you everybody. I appreciate the continued love and support. I'll get this video up right away, and I'll get the spot price preview up as soon as possible. No eBay to enter this week since we're not breaking this Sunday. We're breaking the following Sunday. So at some point in time, I'll have to get the spots in. Probably after we break on Thursday, I'll be doing it like it's a normal Sunday, and I'll get them ready to start the following Tuesday as well. So thank you, everybody, again, and I will talk to you very soon. I will see you guys, most of you, back here on Tuesday and Thursday. Till then, WAFFLEBOARD Breaks is out. Thanks, guys.